You're a fan of old and valuable American coins? Then you've come to the right place. Welcome to USA Old Coins, where we showcase rare and valuable $quarter coins that may look completely ordinary but can be worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. C'imagini, a coin that's only worth 25 cents. Yet at an auction it sparks a bidding war so intense that collectors are left stunned. In today's video, we'll be talking about 5 incredible $quarter coins that are considered hidden treasures because of their fascinating history, limited mintage, rare mint errors, and high demand among collectors. These coins are worth far more than their face value. Each coin has a unique and surprising story behind it. Some became rare due to minting mistakes, some because of their iconic designs, and others simply because finding one today is nearly impossible. So make sure you watch until the very end, because one of these valuable quarters might already be sitting in your collection, and you may not even realize its true worth. Today's first coin is the 1984 Washington quarter, a $quarter that may look completely ordinary at first glance. But if it has certain special features, its value can climb into the thousands of dollars. Let's take a closer look at the full story behind this coin. The 1984 quarter is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, originally introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington on the 200th anniversary of his birth. On the obverse, you'll find Washington's classic portrait, along with the word Liberty at the top. The date's 1984 at the bottom, and In God We Trust to the side. The reverse features the traditional eagle design, symbolizing the strength and freedom of the United States. Now, you might be wondering, since millions of these quarters were produced, how could any of them be valuable? That's a great question. In 1984, the Philadelphia Mint struck coins without a mint mark. The Denver Mint produced coins with a D mint mark. And the San Francisco Mint issued special proof coins bearing an S mint mark for collectors, while most 1984 quarters found in circulation are worth only their face value of 25 cents. Coins in exceptionally high grades, such as MS-65, Mi-66, can command significantly higher prices because pristine examples are much harder to find. The real standouts, however, are error coins. Some 1980 quarters display double die errors, where elements like Liberty or the date show clear doubling. Others may feature off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or noticeable die cracks, all of which can dramatically increase a coin's desirability and market value. The 1984 proof quarter is also worth attention. Proof coins are struck with a mirror-like finish, and examples in deep cameo condition with flawless surfaces have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction, particularly when graded highly by a professional service. Condition is everything in coin collecting, which the grunt 70, and coins at the very top of that scale are rare because most pieces enter circulation and quickly develop scratches, marks, and wear. If you want to determine whether your 1980 quarter might be valuable, examine it carefully under strong light. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling or unusual defects. Inspect the edge for abnormalities, confirm the mint mark, and evaluate whether the original luster is still intact. It's also important to note that regular 1980 4/4 are copper nickel clad, not silver, so claims that a standard circulation piece is silver are incorrect. Aside from certain special collector issues with different compositions, market demand also plays a key role. When high-grade examples from a specific year are scarce, collectors are often willing to pay a premium. An exceptional 1980 4/4 with rare errors or top-tier grades have indeed reached impressive prices at auction. Interestingly, coins free 1980s are gradually entering the vintage category, while many people think only 1960 SR 1970s coins are old. 1984 is now over 40 years in the past, and well-preserved examples may become even scarcer over time. Serious collectors often choose to have valuable coins authenticated and graded by professional services, since certified coins typically sell for more due to the added trust in their authenticity and condition. So while the 1980 4/4 dollar may seem like everyday pocket change, not every coin is ordinary. That simple 25-cent piece sitting in your wallet, jar, or storage box could potentially be worth thousands if it carries a rare mint error or survives in exceptional condition. Now imagine this. Watch dessa 1991 quarter that looks completely ordinary, yet in the right condition, or with the right rare error. It can truly surprise collectors. Yes, we're moving on to the next coin, the 1990 1 Washington quarter. A coin that might even be sitting in your wallet right now, unnoticed. The 1990 1/4 features the familiar design from the Washington Quarter Series, honoring George Washington. On the obverse, you'll see Washington's classic portrait, along with the inscriptions, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1991. The reverse displays the traditional eagle design, a powerful symbol of strength and freedom in the United States. At first glance, everything about this coin seems completely normal. But this is where the real story begins. In 1991, the Philadelphia Mint No Mint Mark and the Denver Mint with a D Mint Mark produced millions of these quarters. Meanwhile, the San Francisco Mint released proof versions bearing the S Mint mark specifically for collectors. With such large mintages, most 1991 quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents. But in the world of coin collecting, mintage numbers aren't everything. Condition and rarity make all the difference. If a 1990 1/4 is found in high grade, uncirculated condition, such as 1967 or higher, its value can be many times greater than a standard circulated example. High-grade coins are scarce because most pieces enter circulation and quickly pick up scratches, marks, and wear. Finding one with strong luster and sharply preserved details is much more difficult than you might think. And here's where the suspense builds even further. Some 1990 1/4 have reported mint errors, including double die varieties and noticeable die cracks. If you spot clear doubling on the date 1991 or in the lettering, the coin could fall into a more desirable category. Off-center strikes or clipped. Planchet errors can also attract strong collector interest. In certain cases, verified error coins have sold for hundreds and sometimes even thousands of dollars, especially when the error is obvious and authenticated. The 1991 S-Proof quarter also deserves special attention. Proof coins are struck with a mirror-like finish for collectors, and examples in deep cameo condition with high grades from professional grading. Services can command impressive prices. Flawless proof coins are always in demand because collectors are constantly searching for pristine examples. One important note: regular 1991 quarters struck for circulation are not silver. They are copper nickel clad. If someone tries to sell a standard 1991 quarter as silver, always verify first. Only certain special silver proof sets were struck in a different composition. So here's the question: have you ever examined your 1991 quarter under a magnifying glass? Have you checked the mint mark? Now, friends, the suspense is about to get even deeper. Imagine-se a 1993. Quarter that looks completely ordinary in everyday circulation, but in the right condition, or with the right rare error, it could turn out to be a hidden treasure for collectors. Yes, we're moving on to the next coin, the 1993 Washington quarter. The 1993 quarter carries the familiar design from the Washington quarter series. On the obverse, you'll see the portrait of George Washington, with liberty above, in God we trust to the side, and the date 1993 below. The reverse features the classic eagle with its wings, prédio menos a design that represented the United States on quarters for decades. At first glance, everything seems completely normal. But in the world of coin collecting, normal doesn't always mean ordinary. In 1993, the Philadelphia Mint No Mint mark and the Denver Mint with a D Mint mark produced millions upon millions of these quarters. The San Francisco Mint also released proof versions bearing the S Mint mark for collectors. With such high production numbers, a typical 1993 quarter is usually worth just its face value of 25 cents. But this is where condition and grading come into play. If a 1993 quarter is found in true uncirculated condition with strong original mint luster and minimal much more desirable coins Greeks, me 67 you are to find. High-grade examples are scarce because most coins enter circulation and quickly show wear. When supply is low and collector demand is high, values naturally rise. The real excitement begins with mint errors. Some 1993 quarters have reported double die effects, where the lettering or date shows noticeable doubling. Others display die cracks, off-center strikes, or clip planchet errors. If your coin has a clear and authenticated error, its market value could be many times higher than that of a standard circulated piece. Now let's talk about the 1993 S-Proof quarter. Proof coins are specially struck for collectors and feature a mirror-like surface. If you have a deep cameo proof where the design appears frosted against a highly reflective background, and it earns a high grade from a professional grading service, Its auction price can be quite impressive. Perfect proof coins consistently remain in demand because collectors are always searching for flawless examples. One important reminder: regular 1993 quarters struck for circulation are not silver. They are made of copper-nickel clad composition. Only certain special silver proof sets were struck in a different metal content. So always verify before assuming a coin is silver. So now it's time to recheck your 1993 quarters. Look at the mint mark. Is there a D? Numarkachol? Or an S for a proof version? Use a magnifying glass to carefully inspect the lettering and date. Sometimes a small detail, like slight doubling or an unusual strike, can transform. Now, friends, let's take a step back in time, all the way to 1977. Imagine a quarter that's nearly 50 years old. One that might be sitting quietly in an old box or coin jar in your home. But if it has the right condition or a rare error, it could turn into a small hidden treasure. Yes, we're talking about the 1977 Washington quarter. The 1977 quarter features the classic design from the Washington varieties. On the obverse, you'll see the well-known portrait of George Washington, with Liberty above, In God We Trust to the side, and the date, 1977, below. The reverse displays the iconic bald eagle design that defined U.S. quarters. For decades, a traditional look that remained in use until 1998, just before the state quarters program began in the United States. At first glance, 1977 isn't considered an especially rare year, since the Philadelphia mint mark and the Denver mint with a D mint mark produced millions of these coins. But in the world of coin collecting, there's one important rule. It's not just about the year. It's about condition and errors. If you happen to find a 1977 quarter in true uncirculated condition, with strong original mint luster, sharp details, and minimal marks, it could be quite valuable in grades like MS65, MS66, or higher. High-grade examples from this year are becoming harder to find because most were heavily circulated and show significant wear today. The real suspense begins with mint errors. Some 1977 quarters have been reported with die cracks, off-center strikes, and strike-through errors. If you notice unusual metal flow lines, a partially missing edge, known as a clip planchet, or other authentic minting mistakes, your coin could fall into a desirable error category. Verified error coins often sell for many times their 25-cent face value because collectors actively seek out unique and unusual pieces. Now let's talk about the 1977S proof quarter. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins specifically for collectors, and these pieces feature mirror-like surfaces with frosted design elements. If you own a 1977S proof in deep cameo condition, it earns a high grade from a professional grading service. It could achieve an impressive price at auction. One important reminder: regular 1977 circulation quarters are not silver. After 1965, quarters were struck in copper-nickel clad composition. If someone claims that a standard 1977 quarter is silver, Always verify the information. Only certain special silver proof sets were struck with different metal content. So here's the question: have you ever carefully examined your 1977 quarter? Have you checked the mint mark? Have you used a magnifying glass to inspect the date and lettering for unusual details? Now, friends, let's talk about a quarter that may look completely ordinary at first glance. But when it comes to high grades and rare proof condition, it can truly make collectors' hearts race. Yes, we're focusing on the 1986 Washington quarter, especially its proof P, our version, which can achieve impressive value in the right condition. The 1986 quarter features the familiar design of the Washington quarter. On the obverse is the timeless portrait of George Washington, with liberty above, in God we trust to the side, and the date, 1986, below. The reverse displays the strong and detailed bald eagle design that define quarters in the United States from 1932 until 1998. In 1986, the Philadelphia Mint no mint mark and the Denver Mint with a D mint mark produced regular circulation coins. However, the real excitement begins with the San Francisco Mint proof coins, which carry the S mint mark. Proof coins are specially struck for collectors and feature a mirror-like background with frosted design. Elements, a striking contrast that makes them stand out from regular circulation pieces. So the big question is, how much can a 1986 S proof worth? In average proof condition, the value is usually modest. But if the coin displays a strong deep cameo DCAM effect, where the portrait and eagle appear heavily frosted against a deeply mirrored background, and receives a high grade such as PR69 or PR70 from a professional grading service, its value can increase dramatically. A PR70 grade represents a perfect coin with no visible flaws under magnification. These are extremely difficult to find because even proof coins can develop tiny hairlines or imperfections from handling or storage. A 1986 menos S. Proof quarter graded P are 70 deep. Cameo can command a significant premium, as collectors are always willing to pay more for flawless examples. Now let's talk about errors. Some 1986 quarters have shown minor doubling or die cracks. If a proof coin displays a clear and certified mint error, its rarity increases even further. Combine an error with a high grade, and you have a coin with strong market demand. One more important detail: regular 1986 quarters are copper nickel clad, not silver. However, certain 1986S proof sets were also issued in a silver composition for collectors. If you own a silver proof version, it carries not only intrinsic silver value, but also additional numismatic value depending on its condition. So if you have a 1986 quarter, start by checking the mint mark. Is there an S? If so, tilt the coin under good lighting. Does it have a clear mirror finish? Are the design details sharply frosted? Are there any scratches, haze, or spots? If your coin appears to be in exceptional condition,